We recently heard from Tara, yes, the American invasion to Wrexham. And once we got through with that story, I was left hanging with another story to bring you. Yes, we're talking about the guide, Wrexham's super guide. We're talking about Bryan Still. We're talking also Carden Park. We're going to talk a lot of things, but Bryan is going to give you the information as a guide. So if you're going to Wrexham and you need a guide, I want you to think of one thing. Bryan Still. I'm going to say that again. Bryan Still from Wrexham. That's the man you need to get in touch with. We're going to give you all the details. So let's welcome in the man himself. Bryan, how you doing, sir? All the way from Wrexham, a super fan. Welcome in, my friend.
Hi, Stevie. Lovely to meet you, Alas.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
I tell you what. Likewise, mate. Likewise. I've got to ask you, though, how does it feel back to back before we get into all the details about what it is to be a guide and what you bring? But how is it with the back-to-back promotions?
I think the anaesthetics wearing off now, and I'm stopped feeling numb, and we've got to shake our heads and think, oh wow, this is absolutely massive. What's happened to us? I'm not going to say it's a dream, the best dream ever you could have. You know, from 5 years ago to where we are now, 3 on the run, 1 playoff loss. What more can we do?
Unbelievable, you know what I mean? Really, when you think about it, eh? From where we've come from.
It is, you know, from going from crowds of 3,000 to 4,000 to sellouts every single game, to being an envy of a lot of clubs. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about there, my friend. So does the rest of the football world.
Yes. And the world is looking at us. You know, they're studying us, and you know, and long may it continue. You know. So
what's your biggest moment in Wrexham history, though? Is this actually the biggest, or what's bigger? So I mean, you've been there for years, mate.
I can remember, unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember the 77-78 season.
Yep.
When we had the Dixies, the Mickey Thomases, the Arvins, the Mickey Evanses, Wayne Sigelskis, all them old boys playing football for us. And we tried to think sometimes how that team would do against this. And I've always said, well, I think they'd beat this team 5-0, but I'm serious worries now. Do you know what I mean? I think this team was special. Do you know what I mean? The last couple of years, the core of the side, the Elliot Lees, the Paul Mullin, you know, the Palmers, and the additions of some of the players have been phenomenal players. Do you know what I mean? And a long way continue, like I say.
Now, there's part of what I've found out with you, Bryan, that I found out talking with you. And most people are going to be very surprised before we get into what it is, what you bring as the guide. But when Wrexham initially was being sold to Rob McElhenney, Ryan Reynolds, the contracting and the sale of the club to those two fine gentlemen who we both love dearly. Take us through that story, because I tell you now, everybody listening, this is a story you probably do not know. But by the end of this one, before we get into the questions, you'll be glad you do. Bryan, take us through the sale and the contracting when you were there, because I believe you were a director of the supporters group that was literally the ownership of the team at the time. Take it away, Bryan, please.
So basically, the club was owned by Wrexham Supporters Trust. It was a membership club. Every member put £1 a month in minimum, and then they were a part owner of the club. The context of that was that there would be 12 directors voted on directors, and I was lucky enough to be one of the directors. I think in the June before the start of the negotiations, I got voted to be vice chairman of the club. So we're obviously in pandemic. We had a bit of a disadvantage being a Welsh club in the English pyramid. Obviously, we weren't allowed football matches. We had not much money coming in. We grouped together as a trust board to try and raise money, save money everywhere to keep the club going as best we can. And I'm not going to say we would have collapsed, but it was really, really difficult to see the end show. So even when they started the season, we were not allowed no fans. So the season 2021, we weren't allowed no fans. So that seriously affects our income. So we get told one day there was a possible takeover. We don't really pay much attention because details were kept from us through NDAs and stuff like that. We send a list of conditions over. and they met all conditions straight away, which obviously raised eyebrows to us because we've never been in that situation. So when it was announced it was Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, we were going, really?
Yeah, I bet you
Really?
said something else than that.
Yeah, bloody really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to meet him on a few Zooms. We asked him lots of questions, do some due diligence. Then basically all we can do is put together a package proposal to sell the club to our members. So the pressure is taken off to us. All we can say is, this is, we strongly recommend that you accept these proposals. And the rest is history. 98% of members voted for the takeover, and then we just had to do all the nitty gritty and agree everything. Playing red as our first colour, always be at the racecourse and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was probably on the non-match side one of the biggest things I've ever done in football.
What was it like actually in the moment when you're realising you're dealing with two massive gentlemen in the entertainment business? And were you worried at the time that this was the wrong or the right step? What was the feel in the room?
We have to slightly stay impartial because although we're directors, it's not our club. We're representatives of the 2,500, 3,000 owners. So we have to do a bit of reality checking just to make sure we do everything. When we were coming off the Zooms from us, we said, right, we'll go back on a Zoom 5 minutes time, guys. Go and get a belt of beer quickly. And we go, Ryan Reynolds, right,
absolutely.
Yeah. We were ecstatic with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
obviously, but we still had to do, and some of the people on the board played massive roles in this takeover. I didn't play a big part, maybe in the first couple. I was also one of the people who was the signatures to sign it over, being one of the officers of the club. But it's done a lot more than me.
So there's a hell of a lot of people included. Like you say, the 12 in the room were basically making decisions.
Yes, yeah, so yeah, we put a big team together who pushed the deal through, and they did, and it was a good deal, as you can see.
Absolutely. I mean, deal of a lifetime, no?
I can't even to today, like 5 years on. Is it 5 years or 4 years on?
It's getting on for 5th years pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it was February the 5th, 21. Yeah. So we're over 4 years.
Yeah.
How the hell? I just still can't shake myself that what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like a blur. Really difficult, but like a blur. Do you know what I mean?
It made an earthquake in the football world, Bryan, I tell you now, and that's why so many people have jumped into this story. People all over the world have fallen in with this lovely little Welsh village called Wrexham. Before that, they hadn't got a clue how great this community was. I've been there. I've been all over North Wales. I know how great the people are. Rob and Ryan, they've fallen in love with this club for the reason that it's such a special part of the world. I know there's a lot of great places in the world, but this story came together. And now you got the whole world on it. Now, moving over slightly to the guideship, do you do club tours in behind the scenes?
No. The club last year done some stadium tours. I don't know this officially, but for this coming summer, I don't think they will because of the work in progress going on. They've just having a new pitch installed. Once the pitch is finished, the plan is then to build the new stand. With obviously it's going to be hundreds of workers there, and it's an aging ground and it's forever needing rewiring, repainting, blah blah blah. So I don't think they'll do stadium tours this summer. Personally.
Good. Hey, you know what? You're getting information, guys. What Bryan says, take to the bank. Now, another thing as well is the field. I know for sure this is just for the Wrexham fans, but being in touch with Fox Bulk Transport, they are literally holding the field on their land. If I've got that right, Bryan, hang on in. But I'm sure Neil Owen told me the other day that the field has been transported to their yard for safekeeping until all that work's been done. And I mean, the gravel, the sand, everything going on there. It's a massive job for that brand new field. So that's for the Wrexham fans. Moving on, though, into the Wrexham area. what kind of Wrexham tours do you do in and around Wrexham? The tidbits, the gem spots, and I know a few of them myself, but it'd be lovely for you to tell us what you bring.
So when I get my clients coming over, my international clients, I give them two options: an half day or a full day, and it depends how they want. I can cater for up to. I've done groups of up to 36. Last week I'd done a group of 20
Impressive,
from
impressive.
State University, Arizona.
Wow.
So
Big up to
our group.
Arizona. Big up to Arizona.
So we basically do a preset route, and it's like a questions and answers as we go on. We start at Wrexham Lager, obviously one of our historical names, historical brands, and big sponsors of the club. Also, where Ryan now owns part of it.
Does
So
he
yep.
get in there once in a while?
I
Has he been
don't know
spotted
that.
boozing?
As he he didn't have my two bottles, I tell you. You know.
Too funny, too funny. I
So
tell you, I tell you.
we have a wander around town. It's a stroll. We talk about, and I tell them the history of the town. All our breweries. We go to the St Giles Church. We took some of the history of that, dating back to 1361. Lots of little nitbits around the town.
The aqueduct as well, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's the third part of the tour. Then
Oh,
the middle
really?
part, so the middle part of the tour, we do the club shop,
Nice.
buy the shirts, go around to the turf, have lunch, have a sample of Wrexham Lager there.
And
Meet the
Brian, can I hold you there for a second? They
Yes,
do sell Wrexham Lager at the turf. Can you confirm that?
yes, they do. So basically, they've sold bottle lager,
Right.
but in the last, I'm going to say 6 weeks, they now got Wrexham Lager on draft on the pump.
There you go,
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Draft Wrexham Lager on the pump. Brian's still telling you now. There's a lot more that Brian can bring you, but all those people discussing online whether Wrexham Lager was at the turf on draft. Take it from Brian. Take it from me, the yapper. It's on draft. Get in the turf. Wayne, that's for you. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, and we have a chat. Wayne's really, really good with my guests. We have a bit of banter. A lot of the locals who go in. I'm not saying they're alcoholics, but they're there every day. Do you know what I mean?
Enjoying some Wrexham Lager.
Yeah, even when I'm not doing tours and I got an hour, I'll nip in at lunchtime to the turf. I'll have a game of pool with Al and Trev and all them, and it's a good place to be. You know what I mean? And
Lovely.
it's a good crew of people there. So yeah, we show them around the turf, tell them a bit of the history of the turf. Nip over to the Miners' Rescue Centre and the famous Scoot, who's the lead singer of the Declan Swans, who made the song.
Right.
What a top man, what an accommodating man, and what a great cause they do for the Miners' Rescue Centre. You know, and I think people have read about Humphrey Kerr running a marathon with Robin Ryan sponsoring him to upgrade the building. You know, it's a brilliant, lovely, lovely place, and it's a good cause. So once we've basically done that, we'll have a drive out then and go to the aqueduct. So what we do then is I give them two options. I can drop on one side, they can walk across. It's too high for me. I'm scary. So I have to tell them, I'm the photographer. I'll take the photographs.
Nice. Nice. I say, how do people get in contact with you, Brian?
So it's numerous ways. They can type in my name on Google and it'll come up to us. They can go onto Card Park's website, who again advertise me. I'm also on Viator. Get Your Guide and Booking.com via a London-based company called Tours of the UK, who I'm going to say that my partners. And the nice thing is the guy who runs is a Welsh guy called Dewi. He's a legend. He's absolutely brilliant. He's so good in his how he does everything and creates everything. He's clever. I also have an American-based company called Travel Unrivaled in Kansas. Laura and Jill, it's two of the loveliest people I've ever met in my life, and they've both been over on tours.
Nice.
So yeah, so basically, I've got USA and I got UK. I am now looking for Canada, and I'm also looking for Australia. So, you okay, sir?
Oh, yeah. Too much tea.
Too much tea.
Hey, how far ahead should people contact you?
It's hard to do short notice ones, by
Yeah,
trying to juggle everything.
yeah.
I have people at that night before, and people don't know. They come to Wrexham, then they say, "Oh, I'd love to go around Wrexham." They ask about, and people point them to me, and sometimes I have to disappoint. I've got a tour booked in September 2026
Beautiful, beautiful. So
for
things are
for
looking good for World.
for potentially over 100 people on one tour.
Wow, that's amazing, mate. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
Worldwide Wrexham fans, listen up, listen up. Bryan Still, remember that name? I've said it 3,000 times now, or maybe 50. But Bryan Still, that's the guy you want to get in touch with. Worldwide Wrexham fans, I'm telling you now, this is the man who will make your trip better from the airport till you get back to the airport and everything in between. I'm telling you straight. What's the funniest story you've ever had doing these trips, Bryan?
It was actually last week. So I've got a group from State University, Arizona, and basically we done the football club first. They come off a train, so it's just a walking, talking, no driving. So we take them to the club. They get to meet Geraint Parry, who lovely. Then get to meet Wayne, and we go to the Mines Rescue Centre. We got to meet Scoot. Come down into town, and we hit Vault 33. Neil Roberts, great. And as we're walking across, and I don't tell my guests what we're going to do next,
Beautiful.
just in case something's shut when I've said it's
Yep.
open.
Yep.
So one of the young ladies said, "Oh my God, we're meeting so many famous people, on the documentary. What's the chances of meeting Rob and Ryan?" I said, "I can arrange that."
Oh, nice.
And they're going, "Oh my God, really, really?" So we walk into the butcher's market, and in the documentary, we have a guy called Rob Clark, DVD man,
Right.
and in this stall, he's a cardboard cutout of Ryan. So I said, "There's Ryan, and there's Rob." They didn't ask the surnames, did they? So she got to meet Rob and Ryan.
Oh,
So
I tell
yeah.
you, mate, I tell you, that's too funny. That's too funny. Do you have anybody? Do you have anybody going home with a long face? I mean, what I'm saying is, does everybody enjoy it?
They do. They do. It's sometimes with the universities that the students are more in thought, but I always follow up uh, with the lecturers or professors and say everything was all right and blah blah blah, and say yeah. And they do say to me, they maybe because they're young, they're not so much outgoing and don't ask so many questions, and you think, am I doing the right thing? But
Yeah,
they take it all in, and and by the time the next day, 20 of them have added me on Instagram and started putting the pictures up. So it tells me they've
fantastic,
enjoyed it.
fantastic.
It's one of the things I notice is, and I never realised how important, but it's feedback, like
Yes,
reviews. Uh, I think on across the board, all the little companies who use me, I've got over 100 5-star reviews. I've not had a 4-star or a 3-star or a 2-star. There's always been Bob on, and I think after you spoke to Tara, Tara's a lovely, clever lady. Yeah, she was bragging me up quite a bit. So obviously, I never
rightfully
met him
so.
before. Yeah, I never met him before. So I start always. I've got to impress these people and do my best for them. They pay a lot of money. They're coming halfway across the world, making a
Yeah,
lot of effort, time, holidays. So yeah, let's do our utmost. And it's not just about me. I try to promote the town and introduce them to the people of the documentary. And and I do say to people, on the Facebook page, if people are after advice and they don't want to book a tour, I'll help you. I'll tell you where to stay. I'll tell you what to do. Tell you where to go. If it's sometimes it's the financial part of it that they can't afford. So yeah, we and come and meet the people of Wrexham, because very very rarely you'll meet a bad Wrexham person. We
exactly,
love,
exactly.
we
I
we
mean,
we
you're going to a town that's going to have fun no matter what happens. Whether you're there or not, guys, listen to Bryan. But I tell you now, you go to Wrexham, you're going to have fun no matter whether you want to or not, because you don't meet long faces there. And as I've said to Tara and a few other guys around the world, people in Wrexham and around that area, especially in North Wales and the Chester area as well, but they're very down to earth. You don't meet egos, you meet real people. And it's not called a city, although Wrexham is a city since 2022. It's a town, and you
yeah.
really feel it. Bryan, I want to ask you one last thing. What would you like to say to everybody that's come through your company and gone back home?
Well, the first thing is thank you very much for coming to Wrexham and enjoying the story of what's happening. You know, it's made me a much more happier person meeting so many wonderful people, and seeing so many lovely, lovely comments. And the ones thinking about it, come over. You know, like I say, you don't have to book me for it all. Go to Turf and meet people like Wayne, AD Morrison, Scoot. They're so much down to earth, hardworking lads. You know, brilliant, brilliant people. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
So
do
yeah.
know what you mean, mate. I really do. The man speaks it as it is, guys. I'm telling you now, every word out of Brian's mouth, you can take to the bank. It's genuine. And that's what I get out of this. Brian Still is genuine. You can go many places in the world. You can have a great guide. You can have a great time. But you won't know the guide until you get there. You know Brian right now. You've heard the man. This guy doesn't change his feathers, whether he's on mic or off mic. But I guarantee you one thing, just like me, he's full of passion. And that's what I'm listening to, is passion. If you want to get a guide who's passionate about what he loves. And he'll tell you this, he never works a day in his life when he's taking you on these trips because he's having fun. And that fun is going to rub off like it did with Tara in the last show, like it did with the Arizona crew that he just had, like the 100 people coming through in 26. It's passion and it's fun. And that's the two things that Wrexham has right now that the rest of the world is looking at us. Having lots of passion each match on all that fun every day. Brian, it's been an absolute thrill, my friend. You got to stay in touch with us. And any gems coming through to the future, you got to let us know. But everybody, give it up to Brian Still. Get in touch with the man. Go on Google. Just enter Brian Still and you'll find him. In Carden Park, I got to say, thanks to Carden Park as well, putting me in touch with Brian after I'd emailed. Great people all around. Brian, thank you so much, my friend. Great luck with the tours. I tell you, I'm grateful to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm making a note of that right now because that's a big point, you know. And we don't want to necessarily, you know, piss people off. Yeah. All right, I'll get a point into Wayne.
When Wayne's put the comment up, and it wasn't nasty. He just said, "We have got it in there. Why do people say we're not?" Maybe you'd heard the comment 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it was. I tell you what, it was probably around the Wigan game. I was watching the match, and a comment came through. Then I highlighted it later, saying, you know, I thought they did, but you know what? Yes. We'll clear that up. I'll make that a point. Mate. I'll make that a point on the very next show. In fact, you know what? I'll add that point to this, and I'll add it to the next show. And I'm going to make a point to make the next 3 shows. There you go, lad. There you go.
Yeah.
Beauty.
No,
I can't get it. I can't get it here yet.
Oh, I got to take the piss then.
Lovely, mate. Lovely. Lovely. Right. So I was made for it. But yeah, it keeps your body well in shape.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I was military, I'd be the tank.
Yeah.
I got a few pounds spare now.
Yeah, but you're a big boy by the look of things. I mean, look at the size. Look at the size of that little couch you're sitting on, big man.
Yeah, it's a 7-seater.
I tell you what, man. If we were sitting next to each other, them bottles would be popped right now.
They're empty.
Oh yeah, there you go. We drunk them already.
They're actually from my son's 18th birthday party. He had some of his first bottles of Wrexham lager, so he's kept them as a memento. So when I'm trying to put context in the background, like some football shirts, I've got a garage full of memorabilia. I've got Wrexham programs back to the 1890s.
Yeah.
I've got 60,000 programs. I've got match worn shirts, as you can see. I got special shirts like this one. It's probably one of the most valuable shirts you'll ever see in your life because it was never produced. It was the season Adidas swapped over to Macron. Lindo were never the sponsors under Macron, blah, blah, blah. So it was a sample shirt. So I managed to get it, managed to lend it,
and keep it a bit.
Yeah. The only thing I hope for is no one rings me when I'm on a Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you know
Yeah.
what? If they do, that just adds to the realism. I'm like, hey, guys, you can see how busy Brian is. There's another guy coming to Wales. There's another customer coming to Wrexham. Hey, get busy, son. So that's how you handle that.